Welcome to Calming the Chaos, where I help you find peace in a chaotic world. I'm Tracy Cannella, licensed mental health counselor who talks about chaos from a mental health perspective. And I give you self-help resources you can use to calm your chaos in any situation in this world. Isn't this fun? It's not a substitute for counseling or psychotherapy, but just a lot of helpful hints and tools. So if you're on board, feel free to tune in. And now, let the chaos begin.
Well, this is different, and I hope I'm coming out okay here because this is my first live stream I've done in probably almost a year.
Let the chaos begin.
Yeah, I still know how to use the controls, I guess. So anyway, this is different. I'm here in my kitchen because my office right now is being gutted and looks awful. I'm going to completely renovate it, and that's exciting. But, you know, I had planned to go live probably as early as July, June of this last year, 2024. And it just didn't happen. There was just so many things that happened in my personal life that were so heartbreaking and hard and often chaotic. And then the first of the year was very difficult too. So I was planning to do a New Year's stream, but didn't get to do that either. So what I thought I'd do is on the first day of February, which is after a full month of January, a full month of chaos in January, to see who's out there and just have a little chaos recap. So, you know, we just got all kinds of chaos here. We're just going to talk about some of them. And I'm just going to be checking back and forth to see who's out there. You know, my live streams historically don't have a whole lot of people in the chat, so that's okay. But one of the things I thought I might be doing this year differently is doing more live streams because I hate video editing. It's really super frustrating, and a lot of time is spent on doing it. And why not just go natural with all the flaws and all the things and everything, right? So this is what I'm doing here. We'll see if it works out, and maybe this will be my new home as far as where I do my live stream podcast from. But I am renovating my office. It's very exciting, and so there's some exciting changes. There's some sad stuff. And, you know, the thing is that what's going on in the world right now, chaotically, is probably going on in the lives of us individually. And I did bring my Kleenex in case I start to cry, because there is so much stuff going on. It's just, at first I was going to do a video on this, and then I was going to do a video on that, and then this other chaotic thing happened, and it's like, where do I even begin, and how do I end? And so here I am. So the first thing I want to talk about is my home state of California, which I just traveled to by vehicle. It took me 12 and a half hours from Washington, Olympia, Washington, to get to where I was going, which is in the Bay Area. But the whole time I knew there were these wildfires going on. So this was on the 17th of January, or 16th, 17th, 18th is when I was down there, 3 days. And, you know, it's really hard to see the burning and all of that stuff that has happened. I'll share my screen with you just to show you what's going on right now. I hope you guys can see that. Like I say, it's pretty rusty. I'm pretty rusty. It's not rusty. I'm kind of rusty. But the stats as of January 28th are that the wildfires have killed at least 29 people, forced more than 200,000 people to evacuate, and destroyed or damaged more than 18,000 structures. a lot of them were Targets, actually, like Target superstores or whatever. So they were a lot of different fires, as you can see. And yeah, it was really hard going down there because of all of the devastation that I knew that was happening down in the south part of the state. According to CAL FIRE right now, we have the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire are completely contained, thank goodness. However, the total emergency responses were 51,818, 331 wildfires, 57,637 acres were burned, 29 fatalities, and 16,255 structures were destroyed. And I know that's heavy, you guys, and this is probably why I have no listeners right now or no chats, because it is actual chaos. So what do we do with that, right? And I don't think a lot of people are talking about the mental health aspect of this is just thing number one of the chaos that I'm going to talk about today. And I won't be on here very long, but I will say this, is that when you're talking about real natural disasters and you're talking about people who are losing their homes and their memories and sometimes their pets and their lives or their loved ones' lives, really the only thing you can do is move forward with what you have. And I know that's a really hard message, but that's what needs to be done. You may have, I don't know, you may have a pencil, move forward with that. You may have the clothes on your back, move forward with that. That is called radical acceptance, which was a phrase coined by Marsha Linehan. She's the developer of dialectical behavior therapy. And everybody hates this skill. When I teach them this skill in counseling, they do not like this skill because it's like, oh my gosh, so you're telling me to accept something that I don't like. And I'm saying well, yeah, because to not accept it is to make it worse. It will get worse if you don't accept the pain that is in front of you. And of course, accessing resources is another sort of thing that you can do. Fortunately, I think the state of California really had it together as far as keeping these people evacuated, safe, and yeah, their structures were burned. There's going to be weirdness about the, do I still pay my mortgage when there's no house? Do I pay property taxes on a property that's unlivable right now? All this other stuff has got to be sorted out. But I'm glad that the people who made it out of there and the pets and the animals and everything are safe. Work with what you have in front of you and access the resources that you can access. I mean, we're all going to need each other in this year coming up. I have some predictions that I'm going to make, too, 3 predictions that are probably guaranteed to come true. So stay tuned for that. So I just want to say that just driving down there was, and getting a little bit closer, I think I was still pretty far away from it. It was so heartbreaking for me, not only because of the reason I was going down there, but because of the actual fact that I was going toward the wildfires too. So definitely one of the things I did was an old Hawaiian practice, which is called the Ho'oponopono. I forgot to link it in my notes, but I will link a practice in my notes so you can see it later. But it just consists of 4 phrases and 4 sentences, and it helps your own energy to sort of adjust, toward tragedy and lack of connection. And so the phrases are: I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And Actually, so the rumor goes that there was a mental health institution on the Hawaiian Islands, and this dude who never saw any of these mental health patients who were just going bonkers, he was reading their charts, and he thought, I'm just going to say a positive affirmation for them and see what happens. He never met with any of them. He said the Ho'oponopono for them every day, and they got better. I don't know how that works, or if it's a lore or a mystery or fake news or whatever it is. But what I do know is that it makes me feel better. And it makes my energy feel a lot safer and more contained. So God bless you, families. And I can't help everybody, but if there's anything that I can do to help that anybody thinks that I can do to help, the people who have been devastated by this tragedy, this chaos, please let me know. You know how to contact me. Okay. I'm not going to go into too much of number 2, which is the drones, because we have no fucking idea what's going on with the drones. The drones on the East Coast, the drones wherever, the drones above my house, the drones that are probably spying on me here. I mean, I could give a fuck about the drones. I really could. Because if you live your life right and you don't have anything to hide, then why do you care? But that caused a lot of chaos for a lot of people in New Jersey, and I really feel for them. But that would be my suggestion to them: is it's like, live your life right, don't do anything wrong, don't do anything shady, because the drone could be watching you. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, gosh, my phone is probably spying on me right now. Obviously, I'm on YouTube, so I'm public, but I've had this experience before where I saw this kind of bug in my bathroom, and it was like this bug that was a diamond-shaped brown bug, and I said, wow, that's an interesting looking bug. And then the bug was in my kitchen, and I just happened to be by my phone, and I said, God, I wonder what this bug is. It's kind of a diamond-shaped bug, and it has these little thingies. And lo and behold, my phone told me later on how to, what did they say, eliminate stink bugs? Or I think it was, what is a stink bug? And it had exactly the picture of the stink bug. I mean, I didn't even know it was a stink bug. I was just describing it to myself, not to anybody else, just kind of wondering. That was weird. So, yes, we probably are being spied on. I am not a tinfoil hat wearer. In fact, hats are not my thing unless I have bad hair, because basically hats destroy hair, or they can really help it. But I am saying that your phones are probably spying on you, and other people are. So just live your life right, and you won't have to worry about the drones. Okay, so now onto the planes, and that is the PLANES. So we've got these planes and the incidents on. We had 2 incidents in a couple of days. We had casualties happen Ronald Reagan Airport. 69 people died. Black Hawk collided with a commercial American Airlines flight. And then in Pennsylvania, we had another crash today. I guess it was, or last night. And it was a medevac unit. With, I think, a little baby was the patient. And so what do you do with that, right? This is where I want to, and I put a link to Captain Steve. He's great at explaining how he thinks things may have happened. And then also, that the skies in general are safe for flying, because he doesn't want people to get scared of flying. So, this whole flying thing kind of freaks me out, because I haven't taken a flight in a hot minute, and I'm going to be going to Palm Desert in a couple of weeks for a conference. So, and then all this flight stuff happens. I'm like, you know what? This is the way I'm looking at it. If it's my time, if it's the end of my life, then at least I have this YouTube channel. You guys can always listen to me. And I've done a lot of good in the world, and it was my time to go. And that's the way I deal with it. As far as the survivors of the people who died in the crash, the best thing to do about grief and about loss is to lean into it. Like I said, I may have to have a Kleenex, that's leaning in. That's taking care of yourself, making sure that you get enough rest, making sure you get enough sleep, and talking to people about your experiences when you're ready. Sometimes you're not ready. Sometimes you're not ready. I'm not ready to talk about what happened to me in my trip in California. In fact, I made an audio recording of it. If anybody wants to hear it about my trip to California and what happened, let me know and I'll send it to you. Or I think I'll have to grant you access to it on my Google Docs. But I'm not telling the story ever again. I told it once and I won't tell it again. And I won't talk about it. I won't talk about it, except for to tell you that I'll send you the recording if you'd like. Contact me at calmingthesea@gmail.com and I will grant you access. Or you can go to my website, tracy@lokahicounseling.com, and you can email me there, and I'll be happy to share that with you. But that's how I got through that. And so when we think about the people who grieve, for the people that we've lost, there's nothing we can do to bring them back. But there's, again, that Ho'oponopono chant that you can do that can connect you, at least change your own energy about the situation, about the disconnection, and work toward connecting and being there for yourself, taking care of yourself. Okay. So here's the last thing I'm going to talk about as far as chaos and how we're going to handle this. And I'm really not even sure how to, let me just see if I can share the screen here. Okay. I hope everybody can see this. So this is really, I mean, when you think about all of the executive orders, and I'm not saying any of them are wrong or bad, but what I am saying is when I scroll down, and I like this site, it's the federalregister.gov, presidential documents, executive orders. I like it because it goes in order of chronology. So you see this one right down here was signed on January 20th, and then it goes on and on. But when you look at them, you see what they are, right? You see these little things. So, for example, the first one is ending the weaponization of the federal government. Well, that's a little bit vague, but if you click on it, you can actually see the whole order and the signature there, right? I hope that this is still coming through. Let me just make sure and check. Okay, I think it is. Yeah. So think about this. You are wanting to know what these executive orders really are and what they contain. First off, there's a lot of them. As you can see, there's this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, and that's only up until January 29th. So that in itself is a lot. But then when you actually want to know what's in the executive orders and you click on it and it's 5, 10, 15 pages long, how are you supposed to digest this information? What are you supposed to do when there's that much thrown at you? I mean, it just does remind me of like maybe I'm just walking down the street and I have my school books and I'm a little kid, and these bigger kids come up and they have a bunch of rocks and they're just throwing these rocks at me, and I don't know where they're coming from, why they're coming, and what they are about. And there's no real time to figure it out, and I don't have the power to stop it if it's wrong. I don't even know if it's wrong. I mean, seriously, guys, I have not. I mean, I click on one of them. Okay, let's just look at this most recent one. Signed January 29th, Expanding Educational Freedom and Opportunity for Families. It's a PDF, it's 2 pages. That's not bad. There's a 5-page PDF, 3-page PDF. I mean, if you're going to read all these pages, you're going to spend a hot minute doing this and looking at exactly what is going on with these executive orders. I feel like they're very chaotic, and the way that I am choosing to deal with that is to understand first that executive orders are executive orders. Some of them have to be passed through Congress, some of them don't. They will affect some people, and they may affect no people. They may not actually happen. I don't know. My solution is 3 simple words, and that is, what's true now? What's true now is that I'm talking to at least 2 of you are in the audience. I didn't even check the chat. I am so sorry. Nobody's chatting. Okay, good. I mean, I would love to hear from you, and of course there will be time to do that. But what is true now? I have a roof over my head. I have something to wet my whistle, which happens to be a beer. Don't judge me, it's afternoon. I have 3 healthy cats. I have, this is what I have. This is what's true for me now. And when the crisis hits, then this is where I go into this last thing, which was, I did, so I started this podcast back in 2019, and in 2020, I did an episode called New Year's Fears. Now, this is before I was on YouTube. I was just on iTunes, and so it took me a little while to find this episode, but I do want to play a clip from it. Let me just get this stuff out. This is so overwhelming. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to stop the share. Just stopping the share right now. Because it's just so overwhelming. So I went through the wildfires, I went through the drones, I went through the plane crashes and another plane crash and these executive orders and all this chaos, and how you can handle it, how you can change your mindset and your thinking. Changing your physiology is really important too, like learning to breathe. Like if you're holding your breath, just take a deep breath, hold it for 8 seconds and let it out slowly. Do a preventative exercise, like maybe some yoga. Do some gratitudes, just like think about what's true now. All that stuff is really good for handling chaos. And it's hard. It's really hard. It's a hard time, and it's going to get tougher. That's actually one of my predictions that I'm going to make in just a minute. But one of the things I want to do, and hopefully I can pull this off, is to play for you this clip from, and it's probably about a 10-minute clip. And in the meantime, you may see me here, or you may see me like leaving the kitchen or whatever, but just take a listen to what I sounded like and what I said back. This is just a clip from it. If you want to see the whole thing, in the show notes, I do have a link to the whole entire episode, but this is about 10 minutes long. If it works, let's just see.
New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolutions can be great for some people and really helpful, especially if they have good mindset, a good track record for achieving goals. Bravo to you. But for other people, New Year's resolutions just pile on more pressure and makes what could be a clean slate into the new year just a filthy, dirty window into the future. Oh my gosh, there I go again, being grim. But it's true. The new year should be a clean slate. being said, I found that it's best for me not to make New Year's resolutions. You can go ahead and do that if it works for you, great. But what I've found is that when I've made resolutions in the past, I've found that they've trapped me into a corner and caused more pressure and anxiety, which I definitely don't need in my life. And so here's an idea for you, and this is what I usually do. I usually set an overall intention for my life. I also set a daily intention. So each day, I set an intention about what I want to be or do. And then every year, I evaluate my intentions and adjust them if needed. I know this may sound overly simple, but it is really difficult to do because in my world, every day is New Year's Day. And each day is a brand new clean slate with no piling on from the prior day. That is how I handle some of the chaos in my mind. Which leads me to my story. It was on a morning just a few days ago, and I was getting up and getting ready for the day. In the back of my mind, I was going through what I needed to do, being aware that I needed to return calls and emails, prepare for taxes, follow up on this and check in on that. And in the midst of all this, I noticed a bit of body pain in my left shoulder, probably because I fell asleep on the couch watching the Grinch movie, trying to stay up till midnight on New Year's Eve. So in the back of my mind, there were all of these things that needed to be done in the future. No resolutions, but just stuff that needed to be done in the future. And then there were things in the present that were needing to be attended to, like taking care of my cats, giving them medications and food and playing with them, doing housework, ordering stuff from Amazon, scooping the cat boxes and taking out the smelly garbage, and the worst, figuring out how to operate my new dawn simulated alarm clock, my new earbuds, and figure out why my new weighted blanket was leaking sand all over my floor. And then, out of nowhere, I noticed the New Year's fears. What do I need to do this year? Before the new year ends, I want to write a book. I have this podcast I want to do. I want people to hear it, but maybe I'm not doing it right. My listener number is pretty low. I produced a new CD, an audiobook for children, and I want to get it out there. Get it out there. Get it out there. Seemed to be going through my mind with all this other stuff. And while all this was happening, the unexpected happened. I heard a loud crash, and one of our dining room chairs just suddenly fell to the floor. I heard a hiss and a growl and several claws flashing at my bamboo floor. For me, that was a breaking point. I turned to my husband and screamed, "What just?" My husband was in the middle of the kitchen, wearing his new winter robe he'd gotten for Christmas and looking quite like a Jedi Knight, calmly sipping his coffee. He explained to me that my cat Louie had gotten his paw caught in the heater vent and he ran across the room with the vent on his claw trying to shake it off, hitting the dining room chair in the process and running into the Christmas tree, which made my other two cats run for cover. Even though his explanation was delivered ever so calmly, everything just crashed down on me in that moment. Sort of like when a computer crashes when you push too many buttons. And that's when I recognized my old friend, fear. Fear feels different for everyone. Some people go numb and don't feel it at all. Others sweat, or their cheeks might get red, or they get a headache or a stomach ache. They get nauseous or have heart palpitations. Some have urges to scream. In my case, I felt my heart beating rapidly. My breath became shallow, and my hands were on my head. All this physiological stuff really increased the chaos that was already in my mind. But once I recognized my old friend fear, mainly because I had my hand on my head and I wanted to scream, this alerted me that there was a problem, kind of like a red alert or an alarm. So it was a good thing, right? Alarms alert you when things need attending to. And this felt like it needed to be attended to. Oh, yes, It was really painful, and I just wanted it to stop. So here's what I did to respond to my New Year's fears. And it worked so well, I've decided to make it a thing and call it the 6 P's of fear management. 1, pain. I noticed that I was in pain. I felt the heat on my cheeks and the shallowness of my breath. Most people notice when they feel bad, but those who practice mindfulness can notice what feels bad, identify it, and do something about it. So I was able, through my mindfulness practices, to identify, oh yes, this was painful, it is fear, I am in pain, I need to attend to my pain. The second P is pause. This pause is necessary to give your mind space to sort things out. This is a time to breathe, to use your skills to relax, to ground yourself. Point your eyes on a stable object. I like to look at my feet and say, feet on the ground. You can also use ice or heat to keep you grounded. You can drink some water, get a heating pad around your belly, or maybe smell some scent that you like lavender or peppermint or eucalyptus. Just get yourself grounded and back into the present. Number 3, ponder. Once your physical body feels more stable, your mind can fully consider what is going on without judging it, good, bad, right, or wrong. Just say, it is what it is. Just take some time to ponder. Number 4, process. And this is where you just go through everything that's happening, and you can do it in several different ways. 1, you can talk out loud to yourself if nobody else is around you. Just go on a rant or a rave and talk about what's going on around you. Just get it out there through your words. 2, you can vent and rant and rave to a friend. That's what I did. Since my husband was in the house while I was going through all of this, I just clutched my head and I said, I'm not feeling right. There is just too much going on. I am overloaded. I need to figure this out. What is going on? All of this stuff is part of processing. These questions, all you need to do is just get it out there, process. The third way of processing is journaling, writing down what's going on. Journaling is a great way to get your feelings out there and process what's going on in an effective way that doesn't affect anyone else. It just gets written down in a book or a piece of paper. And the fourth way of processing is releasing energy. You can do this in several different ways. You can just go out on a walk, a power walk, a run. Release that energy. You can yell into a pillow or punch it. Remember, the rules of anger. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt anybody else. Don't break any laws. Don't damage properties. Don't get arrested. You can release your energy in so many different ways that you don't hurt other people. And when I say don't hurt other people, don't hurt them verbally or physically. And don't hurt yourself either. Sometimes people can be their worst abusers. Consider what's going on without judging it as good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is. Take that time to process what's happening. The 5th P is perspective. This is when you see your life and yourself as they truly are. It's sort of like if a stranger was looking into your window and seeing you, what would they think? Kind of like they were watching your TV show. Your own perspective tends to be inward from within your own mind, but changing your perspective towards something outward, from a perspective that is from an outside source, that is realistic, truthful, and helpful, is necessary in times of chaos. It's kind of like putting on glasses and truly seeing things how they really look. When a negative perspective is present, fear is also usually present. Through the practice of mindfulness, you can notice that you have a critical voice telling you that you're doing everything wrong and it's all awful and it's all going to fail and you're the worst person in the world and deserve nothing better than death. I call this the doom and gloom voice. If you notice it, you have the power to switch it to a more positive and helpful perspective. And you can give yourself positive suggestions, such as, you can get through this, you've been through worse, this is not so bad, nobody's died, I'm absolutely quite privileged to have a weighted blanket. I'm also quite privileged to have a fancy alarm clock and earbuds. I remember I have privileges in this life. I have a home and a family, and everybody's okay, and I'm going to be fine. Switch the suggestions you're giving yourself to more positive ones. And remember your purpose in life. Remember earlier I said that I set an overall intention? Well, that intention is, if the fun stops, then it's time to change your game plan. Remembering your overall intention will help you remember to adjust your perspective. And the 6P is plan. This is the stuff that people often jump to first, planning, figuring out what to do before noticing the pain, pausing, pondering, processing, and getting perspective. More often than not, if you don't do the 5 steps first, there's usually unfinished business that comes out later through other emotions because everything just piles up. So plan after you have noticed the pain, paused, pondered, processed, and taken perspective.
So that was me back in 2020, and Paula Parkinson is here. Thank you so much for being here, Paula. I haven't seen you in years either. Yeah, I know it's just been so different. And I want to do more live streams, but it just doesn't seem to be like I'm very popular. But like, why not? So, Paula, thank you for showing up. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, right? That's the whole Ho'oponopono, right? We're connected again. So I thought that was a really good lesson from that podcast that I did, and that was before the pandemic actually happened. It was in January, like New Year's, January 2020, and we didn't think it was going to be a big deal. We thought it was in China, and a lot of things changed, and a lot of things were good, and I met a lot of really cool people during that process as well, and it taught us a lot, and we survived it. Some of us did it, but the ones who are listening to this right now have survived it, and I appreciate whoever's going to listen to this in the future. All right. Well, I thought this was going to take a lot longer than this. It's only been 38 minutes. And I'm just going to do finish up, and that's going to be my predictions. So prediction, oh my gosh, did I even write my predictions down? I know that they are here. Oh my gosh. I will remember them because I've been keeping them in my mind for so long. There will continue to be chaos. That is guaranteed. And I believe that the chaos is going to get a lot worse in 2025. It will get better. It will be like this intense chaos. I've been studying a lot of astrology lately, and the way that the planets are aligning and all this other stuff indicates that when these kind of cycles were happening before in history, there was war, there was a lot of pain, there was a lot of death. There will be continued chaos. Please, precious people, keep yourself safe. Even though there's only like 2 people in my audience, I know some of you guys are going to get, this on the replay. I will link you up to some good astrologers that can help you to figure some of this stuff out. If you don't believe in astrology, that's great. But I think a lot of these astrologers are really trying to warn people of some of the stuff that's going to come up, especially with Mars and Pluto and war. So I do predict that there's going to be some sort of a war, and it's not going to be a pretty one. And we already know that there's a war between Russia and Ukraine. Hamas and Israel. You know, we've got wars, but there's going to be a big one. And so that's my second prediction, is that continued chaos is my first prediction. Second prediction is there's going to be a big war, with a lot of casualties. And so keep yourself safe as much as you can. I'm not like, I'm not a tinfoil hat wearer, but I am a person who is trying to be, one of my values is safety. Another value is love. And I want that for all of you. And then my third prediction is, is more on the brighter side, and that's where I want to leave it. Is that, through all this, we have all these people, and we can help each other. My prediction is that through all of this stuff that happens, we're going to help each other. We're going to help each other through it, and then through that, we're going to learn how to interact as community again. And we're going to become friends again. And I really see that for 2025. I do. If it doesn't happen in 2025, but trust me, it will happen eventually. Is that if we continue to help each other through all of this pain, all this shit that's going to happen, that I'm predicting. And you know what? I could be totally wrong, but I am, you know what? Let's listen to this next year and let's just, fuck around and find out, okay? We need to be friends, and we need to access each other as resources. We can help each other calm our chaos, okay? Even if it is having a Kleenex that is now wadded up, or part of a beer, or a live stream, or saying the Ho'oponopono chant, whatever it is that you can do to help each other. And so I would like to end this this live stream. Thank you for anybody who has been here listening. And this is a song I wrote for 2020. Just so interesting, because we're just going back to 2020 and it's 2025. This is 5 years ago I wrote this song, and I wrote it for 2020. I'm going to end with it, and I'm going to wish all of you guys the best. And I'll try and do more live streams like this, because it didn't go that bad, and I'm not going to have to edit it. So you take care, precious people. And here's the song. It's called Rainbow.
Children cry, parents sigh, and we lose a life. We live and we die without enough time to let the tears dry. Still the rivers flow, rain turns to snow, and there's a rainbow. So much is gone,